Hi everyone, this is Real Talk. I'm Joanne.
And Tom, good to see you all.
Hey, thanks for joining in today. So we're going to talk about something called an absorption rate today.
Absorption rate.
Absorption rate.
Okay.
So what this is kind of in the real estate industry, this is what we use to look at sold properties and how it's kind of the homes are absorbed in the marketplace.
Okay.
So as an example, I'm just going to throw an example out there. If there were 100 houses that at the beginning of the month and 20 of them sold at the end of the month, that would be a 20% absorption rate. So in our world, that would be what we know it as a balanced market. Usually typical is 20 to 25%. But I'm going to throw it over to Tom because he's the expert.
So 20 of those 100 sold, so 20% of them were absorbed. That's what the
Correct.
absorption rate is all about. We have a tool, it's called a price trend analysis. I'm not going to get deep into that, but it uses absorption rate within that. And what that is how long is it going to take the current inventory to sell?
Yeah.
If I have 100 homes and they're selling 20, 20 a month, it's going to take me 5 months to sell that, okay? So they'll typically say that's a 5-month absorption rate. A healthy buyer's market is right around that, okay? A healthy buyer and seller market.
Yeah.
Right now, our absorption rate today is probably 7%, somewhere around there, which is very low, which we call that a seller's market because things are selling fast. So things are being absorbed quickly. We could run numbers, and I can get very deep into all that and show you how we calculate values based on that. But things are absorbing fast, they're selling fast because it's a very hot market.
What's a quick way to kind of hurry up and do that calculation because the price trend analysis goes into a lot more detail.
Yeah, the price trend analysis will say what sold last month, what sold 60 days, what was 90 days, what was a year ago, and it'll take trends for the year, okay? But a quick way to do it is just how many houses are for sale, how many sold last month, how long will it take to absorb the current inventory. That's the absorption rate, okay? And it's so important. It's really supply and demand, right? Yeah. Is there more supply than there is demand, or is there more demand than there is supply? That's basic, economic principle, supply and demand. So right now there's more demand than there is supply. So the absorption rate is going to be lower. It's absorbing quickly.
Yeah.
Now, I've been in this for 33 years. I went through the recession of 2008. I don't even know what that absorption rate was, but it was not a seller's market. Okay, that probably was at 70 or something. It took so long. There was houses on the market for a year or 2 years before you could sell them. So it's a very important thing to understand. And when we're establishing value for somebody, so if you ever want to know what your property is worth, it's a free service we offer. Go to askweichert@gmail.com. Put your information in. We'd be happy to give you an assessment of your property.
Absolutely.
But we use that absorption rate price trend analysis because things change quickly, okay?
Yeah.
I mean, we work with a developer who buys and sells, flips homes. And sometimes that flipped home you might buy at one point and it takes you 6 months before the work is done and now you're ready to sell it. But you were basing your sales price on 6 months ago, interest rates go up 2%, and now that value is actually different than it was.
Yeah.
So it's really critical, one, to get a professional realtor that understands trends in the market. And that absorption rate, if somebody doesn't understand what that means or have never heard of it, they're really not looking at the market as a whole. It's interesting, I had run some numbers. So like I'm looking at a list, some properties that sold. Here's one that sold for 127% of its asking price. Meaning somebody put it up for sale for an amount. It actually sold for 127% of that.
And this is over 100%, everybody. So a lot of times we come in lower on a house. If a home's $200,000, we want a discount, just like when we go to the store and say, hey, I want 20% off.
Right.
But that's how the market is. Like
Correct.
Tom and I, always say, there are no I don't want to say no homes. There are a lack of many homes for buyers that are looking today. So, and that's why we're seeing some of these
and I mean,
numbers.
obviously, we've gone through an interest rate hike over the last year. So that has changed things. I mean, there's people that bought homes and flipped them based on what the interest rate was. By the time they got done, they can't sell it for what they thought they could because of the interest rates. But that happens. Things are still appreciating. We don't have to worry about that. We're in an appreciating market pretty much across the country. There might be some pockets that aren't appreciating. But when you're establishing value, it's really important. That's why sometimes, like, you may call and say, hey, I'm going to sell my home next year. I want to start getting ready. Joanne and I love to walk people through that process. We'll come over, give you some pointers on maybe some repairs and things you should do,
Right.
give you an idea what the value is today, but that absorption rate has a lot of factors that a year from now could be different.
Right. And
You
that's
know?
where, Tom, you brought up the price trend analysis
Correct.
because it can do some future predictions for you. And that's where it's helpful to have a real estate agent that can walk you
Absolutely.
through that as well.
So we just wanted you to understand, you don't need to understand how the whole price trend analysis and all that works, but absorption rate is how long will it take to absorb the current inventory. And right now it's a seller's market. In a buyer's market, it takes much longer to absorb. Okay. But if you ever have any questions, go to askweichert@gmail.com. We'll be happy to answer any of those. If you'd like a free evaluation on your home, we'll come do a price trend analysis for you.
Absolutely. Free, no cost to you.
Thanks, everybody.
Okay,
See you
take
soon.
care.